Welcome to Inspire Change, a new inspirational and motivational broadcast that strives to empower men in a positive way. The entire series will consist of only 5 minutes. Yes, 5 minutes, as they are designed to educate, empower, and inspire even the busiest individual on the go over that first cup of coffee. Please join me in welcoming Gunter Swoboda, international psychologist, author, speaker, and producer.
Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in again. So, as you know, I've been talking about the constraints that patriarchy puts on us as men, but also in terms of our communities, institutions, and so on. So the idea that I want to put forward is that if we are going to break out of, shake off the shackles of patriarchy, in order to live a more fulfilling life, both within ourselves, but also within our relationships, our communities, our institutions, then we need to have the courage to take some pretty big steps. We need to have the courage to change. So the question is, where do we get that courage? Now, most of the time, people are actually quite reluctant to change and only initiate change at a point when their current existence and the pain of their current existence gets to a point where they almost feel compelled that they need to make some differences. So what is it that I see as being most important in that process? Well, as I said, I've mentioned courage, but the next step is being able to identify what patriarchy has actually created within myself. And as we've talked about in the previous episode, one of the things that it does is it has a set of values that leads us to behave in a way that is not healthy for ourselves and it's not healthy for others. So the first step is to really have a sense of what values, and I've spoken about those, so I won't go into those again. The next step is patriarchy has an uncanny knack in getting men, especially, to focus on doing rather than being. That doing is really about being an active participant in the outside world rather than necessarily understanding my inner world. So the issue now becomes one of, well, how do I get in touch? How do I understand my inner world more? So in my book, Making Good Men Great, Surfing a New Masculinity, one of the things that I talk about is that self-awareness is the essential component in beginning to truly understand the impact patriarchy has on me and what I need to start to create to move outside of the shackles, how to shake off the constraints. So self-awareness, from my point of view, is everything. So the question that comes up is, well, what is self-awareness? And there's been lots and lots of definitions, but one of them that I particularly like is that when we focus our attention on ourselves, we evaluate and compare our current behavior to our internal standards and values. We become self-conscious and subjective evaluators of ourselves. Now that includes the less intellectual aspects of ourselves, like understanding what my sensations in my body may mean. It means having a larger emotional vocabulary. Something that patriarchy has a tendency to do is to restrict our sense of what it is that we feel. When I work with men, a lot of times when I ask them, how are you? I get a binary reply. I either get, oh, good, or I go, oh, bad. So we need a balance. We need a balance between our capacity to understand ourselves, and then we need to understand how that our own self-awareness influences our interaction with the world. So in the next couple of episodes, one of the things I want to do is, aside from paying some attention to self-awareness, I want to also look at how to expand our emotional vocabulary, how to increase our sense of empathy, which is often a casualty of patriarchy as well, and how to really move into a space where that promotes a strong sense of empowerment. Problem with patriarchy is it makes men look at power and control rather than feeling empowered, and hence we get reactions like explosive violence or aggression and rage. That's completely misplaced. So until next time, looking forward to another episode. Take care.
Thank you, Gunter, and thank you to our listeners in our first super short broadcast series, Inspired Change with Gunter Swoboda. Please join us every Wednesday for a new broadcast by visiting www.spreaker.com/show/inspire-change, which will feature all the ways you can listen. If you have comments or suggestions, email producer@studio3hollywood.net. Thank you and have an inspiring day.